Okay, today is the big day. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but the crows are not having a good time in the woods behind me over here. But today I'm going to be fertilizing and forming the beds. And I have to do it today because there's evidently a nor'easter that's going to be coming here tomorrow. Which most nor'easters, it's early to mid-October now. Most of our nor'easters that we have here are like not until like end of November, December time. So this is kind of early. So I want to get the beds formed before the nor'easter so it can rain while the beds are already formed. So maybe they can settle a little bit and go from there. So here is the fertilizer that we were using. It is an ORMI certified nitrogen fertilizer. It's a 1300, and we're certified naturally grown, so we have to go by the same requirements as the organic. So we need to have the OMRI certification in order to do that. It's actually quite large here. So as you can see, it looks like animal feed, but it's actually nitrogen fertilizer. The company we got them from, which I'll go in a little bit and ask Andrea where we got it from, because I don't remember off the top of my head. And it's basically sorry, there's a lot of distractions going on. Got the guys over here having fun. The crows and the red-tailed hawk are having fun, as in not really. So short version is the fertilizer, they comes in different kinds. So if you want more in potassium or phosphorus or whatever, our soil, because we've gotten multiple soil tests, is extremely high, like excessively high in phosphorus. So it's going to be a long time before we ever need to put phosphorus in the soil. We have a decent amount of potassium and like virtually no nitrogen. Now last year, I think we did not put any nitrogen fertilizer in with the garlic, and a lot of them did not bulb out the way they were supposed to. So I think it was for two reasons. One, garlic is a fairly heavy nitrogen feeder, but two, we have a bunch of hay and straw that is in this garden. And while it's decomposing, it temporarily steals nitrogen to help decompose. Then once it's decomposed, it releases the nitrogen back. And so I think what little nitrogen we had in the soil, the straw or the hay decomposing stole it. And so we had virtually no nitrogen on the garlic itself. So we're hoping to rectify it this year. So what I need to do is every single row, I need to put this amount of fertilizer. This is a 2-gallon bucket, which equates to about 8 pounds of fertilizer. I got that through a bunch of calculations, which I'm not going to bore you with right now. So I have the tape measure out here, and I'm trying to reduce this down to a lowest common denominator so I can evenly spread the fertilizer out. But this container right here, I need to put one of these about every 14.5 linear feet. So if I can do that and do it successfully, then that entire 2-gallon bucket can go in this entire row. And I have 8 rows that I have to do. Now, this equates 1 bag of fertilizer. We have 2 others, so I have more than this. I think I'm going to need about 65 pounds total. And so we shall see. So the crows are still going at it. The guys are, they're digging, they're in trouble. While we're over here, here's our new pad for where we're going to be moving the greenhouse, and I'm going to kill Lady Pants. Hold on. Okay, yeah, they were just digging in the yard. So you have this thing to thank for that, for teaching her. So anyway, hopefully I'll get done with the distractions, and I'm going to start on this and then come back. Okay, the hawk and the crows are still doing battle, but here is, I don't know how well you can see it, but the tape measure represents in between two rows here. So like where this line is that you can see right there, that's approximately the end of the second row. So what I tried to do is come in here and just try to spread it as much as I can. The bed, when I form the beds, it's going to take this 5-foot swath and turn it into a 2.5-foot bed. So I was just trying to aim it towards the center as much as I can. So what I'm going to do now is come back in here to the other 6 beds, do the same thing, and then this will be ready. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I just take the smaller container here and just shake it around a little bit, and it ended up being pretty good. So I think it'll be good. There's like 0 nitrogen in this soil right now, so if it gets over nitrogen a little bit, I don't think that'll be the worst thing in the world. So I'm gonna go in right now and then come back and do the rest of it later. Okay, all of the fertilizer is on. I went ahead and fertilized the 9th row, which we're not going to be planting anything in right now, but we are going to be planting onions sometime during the winter, like middle to the end of January. And talked with Andrea, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and prep that row and make it with the bed former, so I can and then plant in January instead of taking the bed former off and then having to put the bed former back on just to do a single row, because it's going to take a few minutes. You know, it takes like 15-20 minutes to get that bed former on and off, and it'd take like 2 minutes to do the row, and it just didn't seem to make any sense. So we'll do it now, and then I'll just monitor the weeds over the winter, make sure it doesn't get too bad. So just wanted to show this. Everything's good. It just looks like there's food pellets all over the place. But then I wanted to show you something else. Okay, here's the bag for the fertilizer. It's called Nature Safe. And as you can see, it's a 1300. It says for organic production. Down here has the OMRI rating. And so basically it just gives you all the good stuff right there. For those of you that don't know, like me, the 13 means that it's of the total material in the fertilizer, 13% of it is actually nitrogen. So if you have like a 10-10-10 fertilizer that you would get at like Lowe's or Home Depot, that means it has 10% nitrogen, 10% potassium, 10% phosphorus in it. So that's what that is, and that's part of the calculations that you use when you determine how much you actually have to put in to your garden. Now the other thing I wanted to show, I haven't put the bed former on yet, obviously, but this is what it looks like from underneath. We made this 2 years ago, and I've tweaked it a little bit since then. I added these little runner pieces here, which are 1x2s. And the purpose of that is so when I'm forming the bed, it creates nice little rows for me. It's not deep enough to actually plant like garlic or something in, but it shows me where the garlic needs to go, because more importantly is on the row itself, we're going to have a drip irrigation line here, and we're going to have one here. And so then knowing where that is and make sure that it's nice and straight is good. We put that on for the garlic this year, and that ended up going very well. And then the other thing is, and I'll show you once it's up, is I have 4 16 by 16 inch concrete pavers that go here to add weight to this thing. So I just put in a 2x4 around the perimeter and then added that. And so that adds weight to it to keep it down so it can form the bed nicely. And then the pavers obviously are right there. Yeah, along with our like 30 or so concrete blocks. The first version of this, I used concrete blocks, but a 16 by 16 paver and a 8 by 16 concrete block weigh almost the same, but that paver takes up significantly less space. So I just redesigned it so I could just put 4 pavers on there instead of 4 block on there, and it's worked out very well. So I'm going to put this on, and then I got to ratchet it up and everything, and then I'll see you once I get ready to start forming. Okay, here we are. Everything's up, everything's good. I got it tied in 3 spots, so it should be good there. And have the weights on. It's obviously lifted off the ground. So what I'm going to do now is we'll start her up, see where it goes, see if I'm lined up properly, because the tiller is just a little bit wider than the tractor. So the idea is the tiller will come in, then it'll recombobulate all the dirt, and then it'll push out through the back. So we'll see if we'll have to go over it more than once. Sometimes I only need to go over it once, sometimes it needs to go over more than once, but I just tilled this a few days ago, so I'm hoping I just have to go through this once. So we'll start her up and see what happens. Alright, I would definitely have to go over that again. So I don't know if it's the fact that it hadn't really rained in a long time, it's not forming, or the fact that it wasn't broken up enough, but we will try it again. Okay, even though the beds are not formed properly, I went ahead and did them all anyway because I wanted to make sure that they'll be okay. And so we're supposed to get our Noreaster tomorrow and Sunday. Then I'll come back after it rains, after it dries out enough, and then I'll come back and reform these again, and hopefully they'll be wet enough to be able to handle all of this. The other thing I was thinking about is that maybe there's too much non-decomposed hay and stuff that's in here, so guess we'll find out in a few days. Now this last row here, when I tilled this last weekend, I did 9 passes knowing that we'd have to do 8 rows. Well, I don't know how, but when I run through the bed former, it seems to be wider than when I just do regular tilling without the bed former. And it ended up, the end of the 8th row here was pretty much the end of the 9th row when I tilled it normally. So like I said, I don't know how that happened, but it did. So I wanted to see, it's like, well, what if I till this without pre-tilling it before. So pretty much this row, this last row here was pretty much, it looked like this before I did it, to see if I could till and bed form in one pass instead of tilling and then bed forming. Because for a lot of different reasons, I'd prefer to do less tilling than more tilling. And it seemed to, except for the drunk part, except for my drunk tilling there, it seemed to work just as good as the rest of them did. So I might not need to do intermediate tilling from now on, which I'll be perfectly happy with. So can't say I'm overly happy, but I can't say I'm too disappointed, because at least if nothing else, all of the fertilizer is now tilled up and in here, and so if it rains in the next couple of days, it'll be in the ground actually starting to release the fertilizer, and not just on the surface like it was previously. So I'm going to quit yakking now. I'm going to go in. I still have the bed former attached onto the tractor, and so then I can come back and finish that up. So that's it for here. I don't think there's anything else garden wise. Oh, I am probably going to do a video on what remains of our summer garden, which now just looks like a big jumbled mess. And we do have some highlights in here, so I think I'll do a video on that at some point. And it looks like the turmeric is almost ready, so I know Andrea is itching to pop some of the turmeric open and see what those roots look like. Because if the roots are good, then that means the turmeric might be viable, and then we might be able to do more turmeric. So that's it for that. So see, I think it's about 3 o'clock now, and so everything's supposed to start raining and stuff tonight. We're only supposed to get, I've seen anywhere between 2.5 to 3 inches over about a day or two period. So if that's the case, I'm perfectly fine with that. That means there's no mega monsoons coming through, and that'll be good. See if I can find where the dogs have been digging over here. Yes, I don't know why they love this spot right here, but I've had to fill this in like 3 or 4 times today. And so I guess while I'm walking, we'll get one look at the sisters while I'm on my way back. Alright, looks like everybody's out. Although I don't see Fight Club. Oh, there's Fight Club right there. Okay. Fight Club's out, so we might actually have some eggs. Let me look in here real quick. Okay, let's see how many eggs we actually have. Alright. Oh, got 1 in nest box 3. We got 2 and 2. So, yeah, between the sisters getting older and it getting more towards fall and winter time, we're getting a significantly less amount of eggs right now. Well, Roadrunner there, she's a Moran, and Morans only lay so many eggs a year, and Roadrunner has not laid an egg in over a month, and Andrea was concerned, so there's some Moran chicken group or something, and they said no, that's what they do, is like they have a set amount of eggs, like they're part of an egg union, and as soon as they lay their quota, then they're done for the year. So it's like, okay. So, alright, I'm going to quit yakking and looking at the calm before the nor'easter. Hopefully this will end up like the last tropical storm where it'll just like buzz us and go on by. Those type of storms I can get with. So anyway, done yakking. Okay, I knew there was a nor'easter coming and we were anticipating to get 2, maybe 3 inches of rain over a 2-day period, which should have been no problem. But we ended up getting almost 5.5 inches, and all right, where was I? We had 5.5 inches. 4 inches of that came between about noon and 7 o'clock yesterday. And looking at the swale right here, the swale was pretty much absolutely full of water. We had water all over in big pond areas all over the backyard as per usual. Actually, our new area over here has been, I was out in the middle of the storm. Actually did a separate video on that, out in the middle of the storm, and this did not really get any water on it, which is good. But the main reason why I'm doing this is I want to see what the condition of the beds are. Because originally I was wanting to let it rain a little bit so the beds, so the dirt could get a little more moisture to them, and then turn around and reform the beds. But with 5.5 inches of rain, and it's Monday now, Andre and I are going to start planting garlic on Friday. Needless to say, I don't think I'm going to be able to till this again because it's going to be too nasty. But it's not supposed to rain anymore during the week. So that's good. So I'm looking now to see how the beds are, more importantly, how my stripes are. Because it's my stripes that help us determine where the garlic is actually going. And yeah, this is a little bit on the soupy side here. Yeah, so I'm sinking in a little bit. So glad I wore my boots. So I'm kind of sloshing through here right now. And it looked like the deer were out last night as per usual. Why? Because they can't help themselves. Okay, then the other thing is I typically have to prepare the bottom area because when the tiller is done and I lift it up, there's a little bit of a empty spot, which of course is full of water right now. So let me see if I can, well, hold on. All right, I got my boots all cleaned back up. So I'm not sloshing mud all over the place. But, I mean, all things considering, I think this is good. I'll check again Friday or Thursday, see if this is dry off enough to try to reform the beds. But worst case scenario, it's not ideal, but I can keep them the way that they are. And then by this weekend, I want to be able to have something like that so the water doesn't stand down at the bottom. And then here's the swale, which is doing its job, which is it's collecting the water. And I was able to get over to where this flag is. All right, so right here is when I was doing my secondary cut. So there's a little bit of slope from over there over to here. And then you can see where it's raised up right now. So as soon as it dries out enough, I can continue pushing it all the way over to there, because I just initially just cut it a little bit just to try to get some dirt out. And then the idea is, once I get over to the corner, to come over here, and after I get into the trees a little bit over here, the ground starts going down significantly. So I'm hoping I can create a channel, so when the water comes into this area, it'll come down and then it'll come out. Or if it does pond up, it'll pond up a lot less than what this is. So, all right, this is a video about my garlic, not about all of this other stuff, but it's all happening at the same time. But all in all, I think this ended up being pretty good. We're getting a decent amount of garlic popping up that we oopsied and evidently didn't harvest from this year. So the idea is, after we're done planting all the other garlic, then we're going to come in and we're going to take all of this garlic here, which has been which is coming up, and then we're going to transplant them and put them over into probably row 7. And so, yeah, there's a decent amount coming up here, and we don't want to waste that garlic. And as soon as the season is done with our little piddly amount remainder of the summer crop, then I'm going to go in there and till and prepare that, and then all this is going to be alfalfa, hopefully. So all in all, I think this ended up being pretty good. Ideally, if I can till it again, I will, but if not, then I'll just leave it the way it is. The main thing is the garlic will be up. And so regardless of whether it gets tilled again, I'll come down there and deal with the water problem down there. So when we get rain again, it won't pond up down there. Because any garlic that is over there, oh my God, I'm going to kill that dog. I think I'm going to have to put a block or something on top of that to keep them. It's just that one spot that they're digging. I don't know why. I mean, I don't want them digging at all, don't get me wrong, but it's that one spot that they're digging. Anyway, so that's what the beds look like after 5.5 inches of rain. Most of that over about a 4 or 5 hour period. And so I think we're good. So we'll just have to see how it dries out. We're supposed to be having a cold front come through here, and we're actually supposed to be getting down into the 40s this week. It's about 60, I'd say low 60s right now, and we have a little bit of wind. Yesterday we had wind gusts pretty much most of the day over 20 miles an hour. So Lady Pants got her hair cut last week, and Sherlock got his bath last week, so of course now they're playing in the mud. All right, you two, come on. See, the other thing is when it was really nasty outside, I did not let them out very much. And when I did let them out, it was very limited because I couldn't imagine them, you know, sloshing around in here, and then it'd take us an hour to dry them. So, all right, I'm gonna get them, and then we're gonna go back in because it's actually kind of cool out here right now. So anyway, done rambling about the beds. My landscape tarp area, I think, ended up being really good. There was hardly any water in here yesterday. In the video I had yesterday when I went through the greenhouse, there was a bunch of oh my God. swear those two. Last time it was Lady Pants. All right, so all the water that was in here from underneath yesterday is gone, so that's good. So anyway, I'm gonna stop the video before I murder 2 dogs. So going in, and we're in countdown to garlic planting.